One of the things I want to show you real quick is that with these tomato plants, I wanted to show you my new invention here. I don't know if I call it an invention, but it's just basically taking a big board, a chemically treated board, and you put a bunch of nails in it. And you tie the tomatoes up on the post and if it's a wide area that you have tomatoes, you could take them tomatoes and you could tie them up on this post and lift them up and give them support. And if you wrap my dad gave me this idea and I used it to my advantage, but if you wrap them around the stem here, as you can see, if you wrap them around the stem, right here, and you just kind of bring it up, you could support the whole limb and pull it up to the top of the pole and tie it off. And you could do that and everything. And you could tie them up and get more produce out of your tomatoes. And not to mention you got a lot of support, so you won't have to worry about breaking branches. And it'll probably produce you more than what you really need. However, when you have more than what you need, well, guess what? I am sure there is someone in need, whether it be in your church or your neighborhood or somewhere, that could definitely use the food that you can produce out of this garden. I'm a simple man, and I like to be simple. I'm not a man that wants to be big, rich man. I mean, I like this kind of stuff, and if I have to do this and provide for people, as long as I can support my family, I'm happy, and God will bless in any way He sees fit, and I enjoy it. But I want to give glory to God. But as you can see too, I took an old chair, and I try to use whatever is around me that could be useful. Like this old chair that I had here. This was broken up, and I was getting ready to throw it in my fire pit over there. And I decided, you know what the heck, I need something to support some tomatoes, and so I came over here and I put this old chair frame in this thing and helped support my tomatoes. And tied them off, as you can see, tied them off. And like my invention here of the post that stands straight up with some nails out the side of it to tie some rope on it to stand all your tomatoes and everything else up. And these little fences here, which made my garden look a little neater. Now this was all from recycling from somebody's garbage, and so I try to take advantage of what I have. And even those, I'm not sure where my wife got those. I can't remember. I don't know if she bought them or if she got them from a trash. I think it was a trash. And these are cute little things that can hold up your little plants and stuff like that. These little things here, they can hold up your plants and stuff, and I used them to start with over in these tomato plants, and then they got so big that I had to remove them and put something else up. But I just want you to see the blessing of the Lord, and I'm so thankful to God for it. People get sick of me talking about the garden at times, but you know, I'm thankful that God has blessed me with this abundance, and I enjoy this very much. It's very what's the word I'm trying to find? It's very satisfying. That's the word I'm looking for. It's very satisfying to be able to come out here and work in my garden. And by the way, I wanted to show you something. Now, see how I let my grass grow and everything along this side here. Now, see, the good thing about having some cover, and I'm going to talk about this probably a little more in the future as well, but there's something about covering. If you go into the woods and you look at the covering underneath the trees and all the leaves and stuff that are laid out, and you watch how the things grow out of underneath all the, I guess you can call it compost that sits underneath these trees, and you get these lush plants that come out of there. Well, one thing about covering, whether it be grass or some other kind of covering, I would prefer wood chips because, and this I learned from somebody else, but if you have wood chips, it holds the moisture in. But in this case, I leave the grass up so that it could protect my soil. I don't want it completely drying out. I want the life to be living underneath it, and so I only weed when the plants get so tall that or if they're interfering with the growth. Because if they're interfering with the growth or if they're taking away from the nutrition of the plant, well, then I sometimes remove them. But then other times, because the plant is already producing, I don't worry about it. But I will remove different things. I'll remove different tall plants, tall weeds and stuff like that. Like, for instance, this one right here. I got a step over here. Now this here is just a weed. And basically, I pull it out. And what I'll do is, instead of just throwing it away, you can lay it right back down on the ground, instead of actually destroying it, which I don't feel is necessary at all to destroy anything. I find that you try to make use of everything you have, and you just go from there. on occasion, like these over here, I put some weeds like poison ivy and stuff that I'm susceptible to, and I'll throw them in my fire pit and I'll burn them. But for the most part, I will take this compost and these weeds and stuff like that, and I will put them back into my soil so that the soil can have a irrigation system. And hopefully I might add some rocks, of course I'm going to try the wood chip thing because I hear it's very good. So I'm going to try that as well. But this is a very successful garden for my first time, and I just want you to see that, you know, in your backyard with a little space, you can do a lot. And I plan on doing more next year, corn and other things that I find that will be useful and helpful for my family's food supply. And it also saved me on my budget. And over here I have this little area which I will plant some more stuff next year, and probably hopefully use wood chips. And I'm very thankful to the Lord, and I just wanted to use this as a way to present God first of all, and to let you know that you don't have to have a lot of wisdom. The scripture tells you to, if every man is in need of wisdom, call upon the Lord and he will give you that wisdom. I could do this garden without ever going to a thing, and sometimes it is probably more helpful to, you know, research it a little bit, get ideas, stuff like that. I plan on doing an indoor garden pretty soon. And I'm going to see if my dining room could supply, and this is what this is over here. And believe it, I wanted to show you something. Now this over here was a branch that I broke off on accident, this tomato plant. And I want you to see something here. I broke this tomato plant off by accident, and I put it in some water, and I got it some roots. And then I came on here and planted it. Well, this thing withered real bad, and I thought so much so that it was just going to die and was going to continue. But you know what? Thank the Lord. The Lord really, I'm pretty sure it's the Lord that actually raised that thing up, livened it up, and I prayed over these things that it would produce and things as well. And you know what? God has blessed it. And look, this plant has got a little tomato here, and it also has a few more plants coming on it. And this is fun, and you have to be careful. These things here, they like to take the nutrition from the rest of it, so you want to just take them out. And if you want to, you could take these little things like this and maybe try to get a root system on them. But what I found out is that tomato branches and stuff like that, if you take a tomato branch and you break that off, it can make another plant. And you just put it in some water. If you break it by accident or whatever, put it in some water, and it'll grow. It'll grow wonderful. Now see, there's some clover. And see, now that there, see, I let these things grow. Not only that, but it attracts bees to those things. Now that I'm thinking about it, it attracts bees to these flowers, and therefore it's going to attract the bees to my other flowers on my produce. And so you want to take advantage of the ground covering because it's good. Like these big leaves, like I'll break off some broccoli leaves or cauliflower, or any of these big leaves, and I'll lay them right down on the ground next to it so it gives it some covering so that the organic life can still live. So I just really wanted to go over that real lightly with you, and hopefully I'll be able to do a little more evangelistic stuff from this, maybe get some more wisdom out of it, and maybe be able to present some gospel to you regarding God and his awesomeness, because God is awesome, and there's no one like him. There's just no one like him, and we all need to see that. And God can do abundantly with very little. I mean, I've been out of a job all the time. I mean, and on occasion it's my fault, and other times it's not. But I just believe so much that God will help me produce for my family, and just by going back to the old ways that God had intended for man to provide for his family, food and living and stuff like that. And see, these things can produce an income for you if you get enough of it, which I plan on doing in a few years, maybe over a few years time, getting some income out of my produce and stuff like that. And you know, we're going to see all things progress. It may not just be that, but anything small that you can use around your house, whether it be a plastic thing, you would want to throw something away like this. These make some great wood chips, man, these little branches. And if you get a little lawnmower, there's even got lawnmowers that have a wood chipper in them, and you can chip them up in wood and put them in your garden, and it makes the garden so that it has a little more irrigation. It gives that all them little, the different size pieces of material that go into a garden and cause it to be to irrigate. But not only that, but if you allow the natural existence of things, you know, it's just like if you go out in the woods. There's a natural pesticide. There's